Today we're going to be talking about BlazBlue. Again.
You've got to be kidding me.
You know, over the years there's been a lot of speculation about when the next BlazBlue game will come out. And, we don't really know when it's coming out. So really all we have to feed through is basically just fan projects and mods. It's kind of funny just thinking about like the fans are essentially carrying the series now, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. Upon searching up any news of what the future may hold for the series, I stumbled upon a very interesting thing. I found an interesting article about BlazBlue that's come from none other than Vice. I think I don't need an explanation for Vice at this point. It's a very interesting thing to have, regarding a series like that being put on a website that's very infamous. So let's check it out. They have a very interesting headline for this article, and it's called Our Magical Terrible Journey Through the BlazBlue Wiki. Well, I'm not sure what a wiki has to do with the franchise, but you would think a site like Vice would come up with something more meaningful to talk about, like how confusing the lore is or how sexist the character designs look. Because, it's an article in the 21st century. You can't have shit these days. But enough stalling. Let's take a look at this. BlazBlue is a fighting game. Like any fighting game, it has a massive abundance of something it doesn't need anything of at all. A story. And I already have a problem with this. Over the years in gaming and just media as a whole, it's really interesting to see people gatekeep certain elements of media and immediately put it into a certain box. Just because it's a fighting game doesn't mean that BlazBlue doesn't deserve a story like that. It's equivalent of saying that Sonic doesn't need a story because he's just a regular hedgehog that runs. If BlazBlue was just all about fighting and that's it, I think it would have just been really boring, and I don't think the series would have ever made it this far at this point, even if the future of the franchise is very uncertain currently. But yeah, not looking good so far, but let's see what else Vice has to say with their wonderful takes. BlazBlue is a little unique with having so much spin-offs, visual novels, mangas, radio dramas, etc. Diving into the wiki for BlazBlue requires a certain kind of courage. It takes even more to rate and chronicle the experience. But with enough time and patience, you too can understand what's happening here. I find it very odd that they think that the wiki is the end-all be-all of learning anything about this series, when there's modes, manuals, and other sorts of content and story elements where they explain those things. But hey, like you said, it requires enough time and patience. And these days everybody is stuck with TikTok and Fet's brain, so they're not going to pay attention unless there's Silver Surfer on the side.
66 million years ago. Bro, I swear I've seen this animal before though.
But it doesn't even stop there. Very quickly they just go up to straight up just bashing the wiki for no reason at all. It is absolutely too easy to make fun of the BlazBlue wiki. So easy I don't want to make fun of it. I end up not being very successful at this, but if you only focus on how ridiculously nonsensical the BlazBlue wiki is out of context, it's easy to miss how ridiculous the context itself is. That is more overwhelming and strange, that BlazBlue does make sense, that it doesn't make sense.
What?
I don't even understand what you're trying to say. A wiki is just a wiki. It's there just to archive and gather information. I don't really understand why hey, apparently archiving and gathering official information about the series is a bad thing now. I just don't understand the straight up hostility that came out of nowhere in this article. It's like going to Burger King and complaining to the cashier that the menu is all jumbled and nonsensical. I don't fucking care, I just want a fucking burger. It's truly ridiculous for how obsessively it makes sense out of itself. As a game about anime characters fighting each other, it doesn't actually need to make any sense, or at least nowhere near the amount of sense it tries to make. So what are you trying to say? Are you saying it makes sense or it doesn't? Because you're not making that clear. At first you're bashing it for saying it doesn't make sense, but now you're saying, oh, it doesn't really need to make sense at all. Pick one. What BlazBlue is ultimately about are characters trapped in a recursive loop of time, creating fictional solutions to fictional problems. As an ad infinitum mirror to the creators of the game, making shit up to explain other made up shit, and solve cliffhangers and dangling plot threads. I'm not exaggerating very much. Very seriously and very literally, this is actually the storytelling of BlazBlue, and characters coming up with ways to find a solution to the setting's dream logic kind of seems to mirror the creative process of writing BlazBlue. Alright, that's just straight up wrong to think like made up shit. Like, of course it's a fictional game, so obviously these things are not real. I mean, unless you want to have a phenomenal intervention every day at work. But I don't really understand like this mindset that this article is already having, and we're not even like, we just started too. Something tells me this guy probably played Calamity Trigger, played Ragna's Story, and that was it.
Yo, this kid singing Pingas at Walmart.
It's just really weird how people roasted like, imagine playing BlazBlue for the story. You mean like the story they spent a lot of time and effort into? I don't know, I just think like it's so weird. Like, it's kind of annoying to see like people on the internet go like confusing equals bad, because even though what they're trying to do is basically like leave some stuff out for people to want more, you know? And sure, maybe there are some things that are convoluted, but I think it's really not that hard to follow. It just requires you to pay a fucking attention. Part of me wants to correctly say that this makes BlazBlue very stupid. Another part of me spent several hours browsing the BlazBlue wiki, and part of me wants to slightly disagree. Because I loved it? Yeah, because the first few sentences clearly indicate that you love it. You can follow a hyperlink and read a full and detailed explanation of whatever fucking nonsense that the BlazBlue wiki throws at you. And of course, obviously, it's just going to be more fucking nonsense. But somehow, my brain is fully compelled by it. I love knowing more about it, even if it's all the functioning of completely made up plot devices that have no relevance to the real world, and no meaning other than the way they interlock together. It's engrossing. It's scary. Is this person bipolar? Like, this is like like the 5th time already, like in these first few sentences, where he's completely switched from being overly negative to like sort of positive. Like, I can't tell if this guy actually hates it or loves it. And now it starts to make a little bit more sense. You see, when I see this image right here with all this font and all that with the background, I can tell that this isn't the BlazBlue wiki. This is the BlazBlue fandom. And the BlazBlue fandom is kind of notorious for being very awful. Like, there's just straight up like completely wrong information, drama, a whole lot of other shit. I didn't know about it until recently, when somebody in my server, I guess who used to be a part of the fandom, talked about all the struggles that went through it. The real BlazBlue wiki actually has a bit more information that is more correct, more concise, and basically just overall better than the fandom. So it's just kind of weird how this dude, you know, was complaining about the wiki when the whole time he really was complaining about the fandom, and he doesn't even know it. But at the same time, he posted this on Vice, so, you know, I'm sure the IQ is pretty low. So he first starts with the fandom's bio of Mai, and you can already tell that he's overwhelmed by it for some reason. And it's like, Mai is a pretty simple character. I mean, literally was a boy, gender bent into a girl, and that was it. You know, poof. You know, and a constant struggle of, you know, just accepting who she is, you know. I don't think it's that hard to follow, but, you know, with this guy, he has the IQ of 10, so obviously anything that's given to him is not going to help. Not to mention, this is also the BlazBlue fandom, which has even lower IQ, so I'm sure that's the small brain cells are constantly clashing with each other with this. He then goes to Izanami and says, there's something actually amazing, incredible, even inspiring about how the main attack to this game's master plan is for things to literally happen. She just wants to work with all this stupid time travel bullshit. As a representation of the reader's desire, I am rooting for her beyond anyone else. She literally wants everyone fucking dead. You would know that if you actually played the game, but I mean, hey, if you just want like a full 1 hour of Ragna's story, then be my guest.
That's why I asked that question. Don't start with the gay shit today, nigga. Relax.
There's one more thing you need to know about BlazBlue, and unfortunately, it's this. Fucking time travel. I always say in narrative design, less is more, but sometimes terrifying more is more, and BlazBlue is the most. I don't think it's good or interesting. Everything that happens in BlazBlue, it's indisputable that time travel is complete bullshit, but it comes up again and again in science fiction because it's completely bullshit. Time travel is fascinating. Time travel is fucking stupid. Time travel opens infinite possibilities. Time travel ties it all in a bow in the end, so none of it happened. This guy really likes the word fuck a lot. And this is him talking about Celica for some reason. Like, obviously Celica is from a different point in time, but she was literally cloned. So this is not her going back in time. This is like a completely different version, because the current Celica that we knew in Chrono Phantasma is dead. I mean, the only time travel even happens is when Ragnar goes back into the Dark War. You know, the more I read this, the more you really see that this guy either just did not play it at all or just did not fucking pay attention. And then he goes on to talk about the embryo storage, and you can see this man increasingly get more mad as the article goes on. It's so hilarious. The two best things about the BlazBlue wiki: 1, every single page is like this. 2, there is so much of it. This was the first thing I got when I hit show me a random page on the wiki. And also, exactly like all the other pages I found, is when I kept pressing that button, it's the simplest thing in the world to turn any random BlazBlue wiki page and learn a plot crucial dream logic world salad, like the fact that the embryo storage is also called a manifestation boundary interface prime field device. Not to be that guy, but that's kind of your fault for just doing a random wiki page, especially since like at this point you clearly know nothing about the franchise. I don't know why you're even going on a website which is not even a wiki. It's more literally just a fucking dumpster fire. You're bound to get stuff like this. If you want to know stuff so badly, just pay attention. You're never gonna get anything unless you don't focus and pay attention to certain things. Not just in video games, it's in movies, it's in books. It's even with school and work. You don't just go into your random math test and be like, oh, I don't want to do this. I mean, I know people are like that, but you gotta do it. You gotta focus, you gotta pay attention, you gotta learn. BlazBlue's visual novel stories are kind of unbearable, but that kind of story absolutely makes for the best wiki to read. It's utterly captivating and looping. Each entry just raises further questions, like a non-leader pop boiler. This is every wiki, but it's especially so with the BlazBlue wiki. In BlazBlue, everything is self-referential and provides not even an interesting narrative function. What I mean to say is BlazBlue is bad. The world building is not good, but way in detail is scarily compelling. And that's the end of the article, and also the end of all the minutes I wasted my time reading this. You know, I read stuff like this and it really just makes me wonder like how people like get to this point in time when it comes to certain things in media. In all fairness, like if you don't like it, you don't have to play it. But it's just so funny to think that a website that is notorious for having very bad articles, reading a fandom wiki that has completely wrong information, and just mixing that up together, it gets this absolute dumpster fire of an article. I've said what I had to say. I've said it before, you know, if you really want to know more about this without having your brain blow up, just focus more, you know? Why do you think a mode like Teach Me Mix Lychee is a thing? It's because so we can learn more about, you know, BlazBlue's overall world building, so in the story they don't have to explain write it even though they should already know it. And I think you all know at this point that I love everything that BlazBlue has to offer, from the characters, the story, and the lore. When you see articles like this, you could just tell this is a guy that just played like 2 hours of the game, just wrote all this on the whim, and oh, that's just his final opinion, and he can't be wrong because it's Vice. But I think when it comes to meaningful discussions and conversations, I feel like some of the people really do be saying the same shit. You already know my stance on it, but it's ultimately up to you whether or not you want to choose to consume the product or not. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's kind of fun to make, I'm not gonna lie. I apologize for not uploading as much as of late, but you know, I've been very busy, whatever. But if you want to join my Discord server, I'd highly recommend you do. We do server events, tourneys, just overall we have a fun time. Well, that's all I have for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.